today, even more evidence that RFK Jr. really meant what he said about stripping fluoride out of drinking water across the United States. CNN news source caught up with the man that Trump is seriously considering giving the keys to the nation's public health. And here's what he said.
The toothpastes are now adequate and mouthwashes for getting fluoride. You don't need it in public water supply. The existing research is very, very clear that it is imposing much worse causes than it's averting.
I don't think any of that is true, and we discussed it on the show last night. And if all of this sounds vaguely familiar, like it was maybe taken from somewhere, you might be right.
Do you realize that fluoridation is the most monstrously conceived and dangerous communist plot we have ever had to face?
For anyone who didn't have the Turner Classic Movies on replay, that is from Dr. Strangelove, and this is not 1964, people. We have decades and decades and decades of science behind this, but it is amazing. I cannot get over this. Trump is doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on RFK Jr. in these last few days and weeks of this campaign. It's amazing.
I think it makes a little sense, not fluoride stuff, but insofar as the only real big movement Trump has seen in his poll numbers is when Kennedy dropped out and endorsed him. And I think at the same time, I think they're trying to get some of the Kennedy vote, which matters when you're talking about these marginal differences. But also, I think Kennedy is just kind of screwing Trump because in private, Trump will say anything to anybody. Oh, we'll give you all of this stuff. And then Kennedy goes out on TV and says, yeah, he's going to make me HHS secretary if I want to be.
I mean, but Trump also said that he was going to put RFK Jr. in charge of women's health.
Yeah, no, look, I think this is the kind of thing that if it had happened a month and a half ago, the Harris campaign could really exploit, because he's not just anti-vax on the COVID vax stuff. He is against vaccines qua vaccines, right? And he peddles, some of the stuff he's peddled has gotten kids killed in like Samoa with the measles stuff. It is wildly irresponsible to let this guy anywhere near government.
And I think to your point about it could backfire. I mean, if you're a mom who knows to get your kid vaccinated before they go to school every fall, this is ridiculous.
And I think there's also there's a little bit of the other side as well, and maybe not specifically the fluoride, right, or not specifically one issue. But when you look at America, we're the fattest, the sickest, the most medicated we've been ever. And when you're a mom or you're a father like me, and you're looking at that, you're like, why is that? Why? What is causing this? When I'm well traveled, I travel to Europe all the time and other places, and you don't see that in other countries and some of the same issues that we have here. So maybe not specific issues like fluoride or something like that, but some of the things that he is bringing up, and I think some of the appeal of RFK Jr. from some folks around the country is that he's bringing up an issue that no one else is, and it affects families every day.
Yeah, Van Jones was making that point last night, and I think it's a valid one about when you talk about health writ large. But RFK Jr. is the absolute last person to be talking about this stuff and running anything in the
I actually know why. I understand why Donald Trump is going towards RFK, because there is like a bro community. He was pulling some support, so there is a mathematical reason. I think the thing that is really troubling about RFK is, yes, if your child brushes his teeth and uses mouthwash and floss every single day, like I'm sure all of us did as children, then maybe the fluoride is enough. But we know that that is not behavior. We also know that like sometimes people don't have access to toothpaste and mouthwash as much as we like to. And so dental hygiene is something that kids learn in school. But I do think to the health piece, the thing that is a little contradictory towards Donald Trump and RFK is that we know a lot of kids eat school lunches. There's been a lot of push to like take processed food out of school lunches, fatty sodas out, or sugary soda.
But by someone named
Michelle Obama. But that was a bridge too far. That's right. That was a bridge too far.
All right, everyone, we gotta go.
I mean, just RFK is not a health official. He's not a doctor. He's not a specialist in those kinds of things.
Yeah, that is exactly right. Everyone, stay with me.